Configuring dynamic RIP routing on a Cisco router is a relatively easy process. You will need to use the IP routing command to turn on IP routing features, the router RIP command to enter router configuration mode, and the network command to add networks that will participate in routing exchanges. By default, all Cisco routers have IP routing enabled. If it is not enabled, you will get an error message when trying to enter router configuration mode. To enable IP routing, type the IP routing command in global configuration mode. Next, enter router configuration mode with the router command. Follow the command with the RIP parameter. This tells the router that you will be configuring RIP routing. The last step in the configuration process is to add IP networks that will participate in the RIP routing process. Use the network command, followed by the default network address value. When specifying the network address, use the address in its default form, without subnetting. In this example, the first serial interface is connected to network 10.1.0.0, and the second is connected to network 10.2.0.0. However, these network addresses are created through subnetting the class A address 10.0.0.0. When I use the network command, I would enter one command that identifies the default network address. However, the router is actually quite forgiving on this point. It reduces any address that you give it to its default network address form. Going back to the router prompt, remember that I have already added one network. To insert additional networks, I simply repeat the network command for each unique network address. When I'm done, I can use the show running config command to view the networks participating in RIP routing. Enabling dynamic RIP routing involves using three commands: the IP routing command to enable IP routing, the router RIP command to switch to router configuration mode, and the network command to specify networks that participate in the routing process.